When the sun weeps a second time, and lets fall water from his eyes, it is changed into working bees. They work in the flowers of each kind, and honey and wax is produced instead of water. This ancient Egyptian poem embodies man's historical and rich relationship with the honeybee. Honeybees have been deeply embedded in man's way of life for thousands of years. The first recorded beekeepers were the ancient Egyptians. Honey and beeswax were considered signs of prosperity and good health. Honeybees are very prominent in our everyday lives. Not only do they provide us with the stereotypical beeswax and honey, they are also responsible for providing us with fruits, vegetables, and beef and chicken products.
The bees, they're dying. We can't keep them alive.
California's commercial beekeepers are ringing alarm bells over record die-offs from their hives. Since last fall, they fear they have lost 40 to 50% of their insects on average to a phenomenon called colony collapse disorder. William Dolly is one of them.
When the honeybees start dying off, it's similar to the canary in the mine shaft. When the canary died, everybody knew to run. When the honeybees die off, it's serious.
Despite intensive study, scientists have not drawn any conclusions as to the cause of the honeybee deaths. But many beekeepers say they believe a swift adoption of neonicotinoids, a new class of pesticides, plays an important role.
Right now, we aren't really sure what we're facing. We think that maybe viruses, have a lot to do with it. And also, it's a chemical world where they're coming up with new insecticides all the time. And they seem to be detrimental to everything that we do.
Manufacturers say the pesticides are safe, but the Environmental Protection Agency has accelerated its review of the chemicals' impact on the bees and other wildlife.
You have insecticides that last several weeks where they used to just last 1 or 2 days. So when the bees are out foraging, even after the crops have been sprayed, they still bring the insecticides home with the pollen that they carry and the nectar that they carry. They deposit that in the hive, the bees eat that, and they die off.
Though not officially recognized by the Environmental Protection Agency, the use of neonicotinoids is detrimental to honeybee health. Neonicotinoids are widely used in industrial farming and are cheap to manufacture. Neonicotinoids coat the pollen grains of many flowering plants, particularly corn. Honeybees then come in contact with the dangerous chemicals while collecting pollen. Farmers are not able to contain the pesticides, and as a result, the chemicals are spread to nearby grass, flowers, and trees. When the bee lands on, brushes against, or drinks from a contaminated flower, it becomes poisoned. The neonicotinoids attack the bee's central nervous system, causing the insect to become disoriented and lost. If the bug does find its way home, it lacks the ability to communicate with the other hive members and can be attacked as an invader. These neurotoxins cause eventual paralysis and death. Neonicotinoids are also highly soluble in water, so once they are implanted in the soil, they are taken up into the plant's vascular system, and become a nearly irreversible factor of the plant, soil, and root system. When neonicotinoids are on the insect, it becomes nearly impossible for the bee to clean itself. Colony collapse disorder can also be caused by a small brown parasite known as the varroa mite. These mites infect the honeybees and honeybee larvae with various viruses, causing eventual death. While colony collapse disorder can be caused by a number of things, both chemical and environmental, the primary cause for colony collapse disorder is the excessive and widespread use of neurotoxin pesticides, and not the varroa mite. Beekeepers suspect that neonicotinoids are the primary cause of colony collapse disorder because one of the most prominent symptoms of CCD is a hive that lacks the presence of adult worker bees or bees that have been disoriented and lost because of the neonicotinoids. The Environmental Protection Agency approved the release of powerful neonicotinoids despite their own researchers' warnings. The products were never fully tested and their potential effects never evaluated. The agricultural environment is the testing ground, and both you and the bees alike the test subjects. So what will happen if the honeybees die? If the honeybee population continues to decline at its current rate, modern society must brace for a colossal change. Honeybees pollinate over 30% of our food supply. Fruit, vegetable, and nut prices will skyrocket, and many foods will become entirely unavailable. Honeybee pollination efforts also generate over $15 billion annually in the United States. As hunger and starvation is already a prominent global issue, losing the honeybees will be disastrous for mankind. Honeybees also pollinate much of the grasses and grains used to feed commercial chickens and cows. Without the bees, we will have a highly limited amount of chicken, beef, and dairy products. This means no milk, beef, butter, chicken, or eggs. Their pollination efforts are responsible for most fruits and vegetables, as well as some nuts. This includes strawberries, tomatoes, apples, oranges, peaches, alfalfa, almonds, and much more. Crops that are not pollinated by honeybees include corn, wheat, and potatoes. Without the pollination efforts of the bees, our diets will be little more than gruel. So how can you help? One way for people to help the bee population is through the practice of beekeeping. Keeping one or more beehives is a rewarding and economically friendly practice. However, it can be extraordinarily time-consuming. Another, more practical way to help the bees is to spread the word. All too many people are unaware of the consequences of no honeybees. The more people to know about the issue, the more people will be inclined to step towards conservation. So tell your family and friends. You can also buy organic foods when possible. Stop supporting an industry that is potentially detrimental to society. While this is highly difficult, as organic foods can be expensive, the aspects of supporting pesticide-based farming could potentially be devastating. One other way you can help the declining honeybee population as we go home this summer is to consider having a small neonicotinoid-free garden. This will increase your time spent outdoors, provide you with a sense of satisfaction and accomplishment, and help the honeybee population. It is also an affordable way to obtain organic or pesticide-low vegetables. Honeybees are extraordinary creatures. They are one of the most unique and advanced insects in existence, their productivity and logical synergy being comparable only to that of the ant. Honeybees' brutally efficient, organized, and complex world is like that of an intricate human society. Honeybees are beautiful and sophisticated and must be conserved. They have sweetened the lives of us and our ancestors alike. The world runs on foods produced by these industrious insects. However, for all a honeybee's usefulness and efficiency, they are delicate and endangered creatures that must be cared for and respected at all costs. Without them, our culinary future is grim. For thousands of years, the honeybee has indirectly fed and cared for mankind. It is time we return the favor.